Hello, my name is Max Banfield. Welcome to my talk on the coronavirus. Essentially, it's talk one. Last week I introduced why I was going to discuss these things using a whiteboard, and I've just cleared out my whiteboard. I'm the inventor of the standing computer desk, the modern method of treating chronic fatigue syndrome called pacing. I thought I'd have a go at coronavirus. So what I can start off with this is saying this. Charles Darwin said that the average person knows no more about the inside workings of the human body than a landlubber knows about the inner workings of a ship. And what he's getting at is that the human body is covered by a layer of skin. So you can't see what's happening on the inside. You can't even guess at it. And if you're a person who lives on land, you've got no idea about the inside workings of a ship. It was covered with a layer of wood, as in Charles Darwin's time. So, in order to understand more about the coronavirus and what it's doing to the human body, you need to know what's going on behind that layer of skin, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to introduce it. There's a lot of straightforward concepts which I'll discuss, and then I'll describe it in more detail. So hopefully you'll be able to follow this. And I'm not a very good artist, so I'm drawing drawings on the whiteboard. So consider that. I'm now going to draw a picture of a human head, and it's like this. And you've got a nose, pretty good, and you've got a mouth, and you've got a chin, and the head comes around here like that. So what's going on the inside of your head? Well, on the outside you've got your eyes, and maybe if you're lucky you've got hair. But where does what happens when you breathe? Well, air goes in through your nostrils, and these are just these things here. And you can sometimes breathe in through your mouth, but I'll go into that later. So air goes in through your nose, and it goes to the back of your throat. And air can also go in through your mouth to the back of your throat. And so you can say that what happens here, it's your chest, from here to here is called your windpipe, right? This is just a straightforward way of describing it. Now, when it gets to your windpipe down here, I'll have to draw a separate diagram for this. This is your head, and if you've got hair, this is your hair. And you've got ears, which you can see on the outside, and you've got a nose, and you see your two nostrils, and you've got your mouth here. Right, and you've got eyebrows, and maybe cheeks or something. So then, it's not very good, is it? I'll see if I can get a better one. I thought I might run into trouble like this. And then you've got your throat. And then you've got your shoulders and your chest. Your chest comes in here, right? So the air goes in through here and down your windpipe. And then down here, you've got your heart. I'll just say the letter H. Not going to see that very well, are you? And then it branches off. So this is your windpipe, and it branches off, and to the left, to the right, into your lungs. And there are 3 lobes here. And to your left, into your lungs. And there are 2 lobes in your left lungs. So That's not very good, is it? Oh, well. So that's your chest. I'll get another one of these in a minute. And so you've got two lungs, basically. So the air goes in through your nose, down your windpipe, and into these branches. And that's called the bronchial tree. Now, when it gets through all those, if this is a lung, this is one lung, the bronchial tree divides into smaller and smaller branches until it becomes a bunch of grapes. And those bunches of grapes are hollow, and they're called, they're your air sacs. Oh, that's better. So maybe you'll see what I'm doing in a minute. This is a lung. And this is how these get smaller and smaller and smaller. That's why it's called the bronchial tree, because it's like the branches of a tree. And that's air sacs. And from there, the oxygen you breathe in goes into your blood. But that's for a later talk. So I'll come back over here, and air goes in through your nose, down your windpipe, and before it gets to your heart, it goes to the left and right. So it goes down your windpipe, to your left and right lungs. And I hope I don't run out of Technicolor. And then this is a lung, and it goes into your sacs. Now I'll go into a little bit more detail. And don't worry about the jargon, because it's only sounds a bit strange because it's like a foreign language. You can go down Main North Road and turn left on King Street and drive through to Salisbury Highway or something, and you know that. Well, I'm now going to describe what the names they give to these things, because it'll help you understand what happens. So, okay, I'll come back here. This here is called your nasal passages, right? And this is your mouth. And the air goes in to this, and this is called the pharynx. Right, it's a part of your windpipe, the first part. And it goes down to here. And this section here is called the larynx. Okay? And that's where you get laryngitis, inflammation of that part of your throat, larynx, and itis. Itis is inflammation. So you've got here, it's also called your voice box. So if you talk, you can hear that, you can feel that moving. If you hold your hands on your Adam's apple while you're talking, you can feel it moving. And at the top is your your vocal cords. Okay, so air goes in through here to your pharynx, down through your larynx, and then this part here is called the trachea. Now, you don't have to remember any of this, but if you do, it'll make things perhaps a bit easier for my future talks, right? So then I'll describe this down here. You can't see that. That's terrible. It's got ears, and you can see it a bit better now. Air goes in through your mouth and your nose, and this is the pharynx, the larynx, and the trachea. And when you get here, it divides into two, and one goes to the left bronchus. That's the right bronchus. Bronchus. Probably spelled it right. And this goes to the left bronchus. Bronchus. Not very good, is it? I'll have to learn how to write, but I don't know if that's showing up the right way. But it's called the left and right bronchus into your left and right lungs. And this one here divides into three because you've got three lobes on your right lung, and this one divides into two. Now so this is the bronchus, and that's the right bronchus. I don't know if this speech is going to work, but that's the right bronchus, and it goes into your lungs, and this is called the bronchial tree because these are hollow air tubes, right? The windpipe is hollow and this is hollow, and these are hollow, and then it divides into groups of branches called bronchium, and then they get smaller and smaller, and they're called, so they're the bronchium, and the smaller and smaller ones are called the bronchioles. And then when they get the smaller and smaller and smaller branches, like the branches of a tree on the end, some trees you got fruit or flowers, well, the end is like a bunch of grapes. It looks like that. And these last ones are called ducts. And these air sacs are called alveoli. A-L-V-O-O-L-I. Okay, so these are called the alveoli ducts, and they're called, the air sacs are called the alveoli. One is called an alveolus duct, and the others are called, one is called an alveolus. It's an air sac, and there are millions of them in your lungs. And when you breathe in through your windpipe, and then it goes into your bronchial tree to get the air sacs, they're very elastic. And I have one layer of cells around them. They're very fine, very thin. And when you breathe in, those air sacs go out and they relax in. Breathing in, out, in, out. Well, there are millions of these cells, and that's what these air sacs, and that's what they do. Now, that's my end for today's speech. I'll give another one, or today's talk. I'll give another one, perhaps in another few days or a week. And this is what happens. If you breathe in a virus, it goes in through your nose or your mouth, down your windpipe, into your bronchial tree, and into these cells. And that's where the virus gets. Now, next week, I will discuss something else, and then after that, I'll discuss what the virus does. So, thank you for watching. Click like, tell your friends, and I hope you've got a bit more idea of what happens with your breathing behind the layer of skin.